Fairmont Crest had never truly been peaceful, but in recent days the air had grown heavy with the sense that a devastating secret was about to erupt. For a long time, he believed Joey was simply a ruthless power broker, using him to handle dirty matters no one else wanted attached to their name. Yet Randy's deeper fear was something more unsettling, the growing realization that he was being controlled from within his own circle. Bound to a destiny he had never chosen, Mona was the only one who truly saw the turmoil tearing him apart. She had once remained on the sidelines, watching Randy throw himself into reckless decisions just to prove his loyalty to Joey. She had told herself that everyone must bear the consequences of their own choices. But when Mona uncovered the truth Joey had buried for years, her silence became unbearable. She understood that if she kept quiet any longer, Randy would not just lose his standing, he might lose his life. And she would carry the guilt of knowing she could have stopped it. The truth she held had the power to shatter everything. Joey was Randy's biological brother. The blood connection had not been hidden out of shame, but out of calculation. Joey had never acknowledged Randy, never protected him. Instead, he had exploited him. By concealing their brotherhood, Joey ensured that Randy would never suspect the deeper manipulation at play. Every dangerous assignment, every conflict Randy was pushed into, now took on a darker meaning. He had believed he was proving himself worthy. In reality, he had been a pawn in a larger scheme, one centered on inheritance, dominance, and eliminating potential threats before they could rise. When Mona finally revealed the secret, it was not an impulsive act. It was a painful, deliberate decision. She knew the truth could save Randy's life because he had already begun sensing that someone wanted him removed from the board. But she also knew that this revelation would destroy what little trust he still had left. Randy would have to confront not only betrayal, but the unbearable reality that the man who had orchestrated his suffering was his own flesh and blood. Randy's reaction was not relief, it was fury. He felt humiliated, reduced to a prop in a twisted performance directed by Joey. Every mission he had completed, every risk he had taken, now appeared as part of a cruel test, one designed to measure his usefulness or to discard him if necessary. He replayed his past choices in his mind and realized he had unknowingly strengthened Joey's position, even helping eliminate rivals who might have stood beside him instead. Meanwhile, Joey did not retreat. If anything, he tightened his grip the moment he sensed Randy awakening to the truth. He pushed Lynette deeper into the scheme he had carefully constructed, using her as both shield and distraction. Lynette, who once believed she was operating strategically and independently, began to understand she was merely another expendable piece. She found herself cornered, forced to choose between remaining loyal to Joey or protecting herself from a collapse she could no longer ignore. Joey's manipulation grew more blatant. He engineered artificial conflicts, isolating Randy and steering him into confrontations that eroded his alliances. The goal was clear: to ensure that if everything fell apart, Randy would stand alone, without support, without credibility. This was no longer just a battle over inheritance. It was a calculated attempt to erase Randy from the power structure entirely. Mona watched as Randy edged closer to the brink. She could see his anger hardening into something dangerous. He trusted no one now, not even her. He questioned whether she had hidden other truths, whether her revelation itself was part of another calculated move. That suspicion wounded Mona more deeply than any accusation. She had risked everything to protect him, yet in doing so she had shattered the fragile foundation of trust between them. The tension escalated when Randy decided he would no longer remain a pawn. He began quietly gathering evidence tracking financial maneuvers, examining Joey's suspicious decisions, building a case to overturn the balance of power. But every move he made was likely being monitored. Joey was already preparing contingencies, ready to shift blame onto Randy if the conspiracy surfaced. The threat of losing everything, reputation, influence. Even his life was no longer hypothetical. It was immediate. The most painful element of this story is not merely the betrayal of a brother, but the way power distorts blood ties. Joey chose ambition over family. Randy must now choose between silence for survival or confrontation for dignity. Lynette is trapped between fear and self-preservation, and Mona, who dared to speak the truth, stands exposed to suspicion from both sides. As the secret unravels, Fairmont Crest transforms from a place that conceals petty schemes into a battlefield defined by irreversible choices. What lingers most profoundly is not the question of who will claim power, but what has already been lost. Because once trust is torn apart by ambition and deception, even the truth becomes a weapon sharp, dangerous, and capable of destroying everything it was meant to save.